Alright, we're back in Cliffside and adjusted the audio settings. Hopefully I'm more audible now. There's not much built, so we have some houses on the build and we have a couple of industries set up. Not a lot going on though. We do have 2 unemployed villagers, so let's get them assigned. Take a quick look at what resources we might need. So we definitely need some help on the thatch side. Fuelmonger, we fired him because he was consuming all the wood, which we don't want. And let's get the market tender back to work so that we can fill up that market again. Okay, we've got a few houses built. We have a few more people have arrived. I've started collecting the dung, so the dung's been cleared out of the poultry farm and is making compost, so we've got that going. We actually are running into a max production on the fish, so we need to think about potentially starting to sell the fish as well. And we've got some choices to make. None of these look very attractive. I'm going to go ahead and take no action. So let's start selling some fish and get that second market stall set up. So I could at this point switch between the market stalls and do fish, sometimes, and then switch the same stall to do poultry, but what I like to do just to automate it a bit is at the beginning start to set up each food as its own market to make sure that if one of them runs out, the other one is going and we don't have any issues. So we've got fish in the granary, we've got fish coming out of the 2 areas there. All right, we need to start thinking about rubbish. So we've got kind of a cluttered central area here, a bit of rubbish around. We can start to collect some additional materials by setting up a rubbish collector. So I'm gonna go set him up somewhere near the main square for now. I'll just put him right here. Get that going. So they collect the rubbish to clean up the streets, and then they also recycle it into wood, stone, and iron, which the iron is, in particular is quite useful in a little bit down the road. We also need to get that person employed who just arrived, so let's take a quick look at the book. Okay, so we do have our second market stall already, so let's get that assigned to fish. Get that person employed there. Alright, so here's our rubbish collection area. We'll end up moving this away from the village center, but for now, just to make it easy for them to collect it, we'll go ahead and keep that close by. Alright, we've got 3 houses. I think we're fully got everybody in a house. We've got 1 person living in a little cabin, the forester's cabin, and we've got 1 person living in, where are they, the hunter's hut. And then we have 2 people each living in each of these houses. So we're at the point now we need a few more migrants in order to start with the Lord Manor. We need 16 newcomers, we only have 15. And once we get that 16 mark, we'll start producing planks, we'll start building the Lord Manor. And I just noticed here that my little poultry farm has run out of birds. This seems to happen when you first build this. I'm not really sure why, as of game version 1.8, that they don't replenish the first couple weeks, or they're not replenishing every week. So I might have to take a look at that, see if there's a bug in that mod. They ran out of poultry, so if you do notice that a poultry farm runs out, you just place a few more birds until they replenish the next cycle. Alright, we've got 2 people. I just saw them come down the hill into the village, so now we can build the manor. So before we do that, the manor is going to require planks. And we need to think about where we're going to put this. Now we have, territory-wise, the best place for a castle / manor would be this hill, but we don't own much of that hill just yet. So what we might do is we might build a smaller manor house in the village, and then later on we can kind of move that up the hill to become a little more prestigious. So let's go ahead and put a very small, simple house here, kind of facing the main square. And we will put a little door there just to get started, a little chimney. Nothing complicated. We are going to need 10 planks, and we just have enough for that. We have all the resources needed for this. Let's go ahead and build that. And in the meantime, to build it, to make it bigger, which we will definitely need to do, we'll get the sawmill up and running. So over here, we've got the lumber production area. That hill has been completely planted with trees now, which is fantastic. And let's go ahead and get the sawmill up and running. So we'll put that right there. Great. So we're a little bit short of wood. Quite short, actually. So I'm thinking, especially since we're going to have planks up and running, let's go ahead and get a second lumber camp going here. I'm actually not seeing where the first one is. Okay, it's right here. Yeah. So let's think about moving this one out because it's really kind of far away now from the harvesting area, but we'll wait until we have the second one built. So let's assign one of these people to be rubbish collector so we can watch them, kind of see what they do. That person will go around, find some rubbish, hammer on it for a bit, and then collect that back to the rubbish table. So they don't collect much, it's recycling, so it's not going to yield a ton of resources, but every 3 or 4 pieces that they collect will get a unit of resources, and that'll be helpful. All right. Let's speed things up and get these lumber camps going. It is summer, so summer means basically most foods are producing at their maximum. So you'll see that if we go down, we'll see there's a bunch of needs that are affected, people needing more water and less fuel, that kind of thing. But the foods are also affected, so poultry and eggs are 50% higher than normal, which is going to mean lots of food in our granary. Yields of game are down, but we're not hunting at the moment. And we also have, this last rule is the balancing for realism mod, which basically takes everything down by 50%. Okay, so let's get these woodcutters going. Let's go ahead and take out the woodcutters here. And we'll wait for that camp to empty of wood before we delete it. We're getting all kinds of villagers all of a sudden. So we've got our Lord Manor, our simple Lord Manor set up here. And let's go ahead and assign a Great Hall to the main building. Let's go ahead and put an arrow in front where people will visit. Alright, so we have that. Now we need a room for the Lord and a room for the Lady. This is part of the authority mod. So basically in the authority mod, in order to promote people and to buy new territory, you need to have an administration. So you start with the Lord and Lady, you add an exchequer, chancellor, different roles like counselors and their assistants, and all those roles generate authority, which you can use to promote people and build up your territory. So we have a couple different options. The authority mod comes with some extra building parts. I do like the vanilla building parts. Let's just stick, again, because we have a very simple manor at the moment in town. We don't want to overcomplicate this. Okay, we are building our sawmill. We've hit build on the new Lord Manor extension, which will give us some room for our Lord and Lady. I've got a second lumber camp being built in the woods. And once this lumber camp here is depleted from wood, then I'll delete that and we'll have a little bit more space here in the village. We have loads of food. We have fish piling up, eggs. We should think, though, since it is summer, we should start to think about, if we can, unlocking other types of food, but also maximizing the amount of food that we're gathering. So we probably need a bit more poultry because we're going to need to stock up a lot of food in order to make it through the winter without any issues. Got our first promotion, but at the moment we don't have any authority because we need the Lord and Lady to do that. So even though we've got the Great Hall, we are not ready to promote our first villager. So one issue at the moment is that I have full resources on a couple of workplaces. The building materials are full, so the workers that are working in those buildings are basically being wasted at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and unemploy them until we get more houses ready to be built. And I'm going to repurpose them as food producers. So again, we're trying to focus on food production during the summertime. So I'm going to extend out my poultry area. Let's see, maybe this way. So this time we'll do a goose house. And we'll go ahead and put the goose hen house here. And we'll get some geese. 5 or 6 flocks is usually fine. Go ahead and build that and put that in my side. And then I also want a dovecote over here by the Lord Manor. So just to maximize this space over here and to really ramp up our poultry production, we'll stick one of these in here. It's a little tower that the doves live in. The worker goes up the ladder to clean it out and to collect the poultry. So we are short on planks. We're not going to be able to build this just yet. If we went with the wood version, though, we could do that because we have plenty of, or sorry, the stone version. We have plenty of stone. Let's do that. That a little closer. We can build that right away. All right, so we are prioritizing building the sawmill. Turn off some of our resource trackers. We are running a little short on tools, so as soon as we get some influence, we need to prioritize unlocking the warehouse so that we can get a trader in to start accumulating a few tools. We do have the trading mod, realistic trading, installed, so we only can acquire one tool basically every time the trader arrives, and we can only, the wants to sell here, and then we can only sell things to the trader in very limited quantities, mostly food, which with the balancing for realism mod, you don't really want to be selling any food to the trader in exchange for gold. So essentially we will have no trading except for buying a few tools, and once we have enough population, we'll unlock the trading post, and that will allow us to trade in large quantities. Alright, so the forestry looks like they're working hard. They've cleared a lot of trees in the last little bit, and our wood supply is back up, which is great. Alright, we have the sawmill. So the sawmill has two options. This is because of the basic materials mod, so you can either make wood shingles, which you'll need for most bigger buildings, or you can make planks, which are used for almost all buildings. I'm going to start with planks, and we're going to assign lots of carpenters to get started. Alright, I'm going to skip the monthly decision because none of those are really achievable right now. Got full employment. We're going to watch our wood supply go down, I'm sure, because we're going to start using those for planks. Alright, we have our poultry farm as well, so we've got the dovecote here. We don't have anybody to work there. What we could do is try to repurpose somebody. Let's see, can we? Rubbish collector is not terribly needed at the moment. Dung collector is definitely not needed. Let's use the dung collector. And the goose house should be finished next. That should be the next thing to be built. I'm just watching my food supply a little bit. Okay, so I've got my 10 influence to build the first church. Now I mentioned this before. If you look at my gold situation, I'm actually losing money. So we shouldn't try to build a church now. We should wait until we're making 50, 60, 70 gold every week. Right now I'm losing about that amount every week, so definitely not the time to build a church. Don't feel like you have to build a church as soon as it's unlocked. If you do, you're probably going to run out of money. Okay, I'm getting a security warning as well, so I'm at 20 villagers. It's just an early warning. It'll tell me that, yeah, we're going to have outlaws arrive when we have 50 villagers, so we need to start being prepared. So we need to keep in mind that we're going to need to build some security buildings pretty soon. Alright, I'm keeping an eye on that wood supply, just making sure that even as we're building planks, we're not running too short on wood. And the planks are starting to be produced, which means that my Lord Manor is now being able to be built. So they're starting to deliver materials there. Alright, so from a security perspective, our village isn't terribly compact, which is going to make it harder to defend, so we need to keep that in mind. We're going to have probably a smaller security setup to begin with, and then we'll expand it and make it bigger as we go. The most powerful building we have in security is the Constable's Keep. So in services, go into the security monument, click on that, and we've got 4 different styles of keep. Each one is larger than the last. So obviously the simplest one is this wooden one here, and then the largest one is this big stone tower, or this tower here. So those kind of look out of place with the situation of our village right now, which is just a couple of huts. So we could build a constable's keep. The nice thing about the keep is that it also comes with a prison cell. We'll need the prison cell in order to rehabilitate our outlaws. We could also, if you want to go simpler, you could just build a couple of towers. So these are just small towers that have guards, and the guards patrol around. You know, if I had 2 towers, I would be fully secure, I'm sure, from outlaws. And you've got stone towers. We don't have any polished stone at the moment, so I usually start off with just the wooden towers. They have slightly less security, but they work. You've also got the ability to make walls and gates, so we can make a little castle or a keep yard. Probably overkill given the level of development at the moment, especially considering I have almost no materials. In fact, I'm seeing the planks go pretty crazy, so I'm going to unemploy one of those carpenters and just make sure that we're not getting too many planks built, because I can see this Lord Manor is going to be built in no time. So later on in the game, I'm sure I'll build a castle. At the moment, I think I will just build a single keep right here in the middle, and it should cover security for both little sections of my village, and it will cover security as well as I expand into this central area. So let's go that route. Now it takes a while to build. It's got quite a few different materials, lots of planks. It does have some roof tiles, but I came with those with some in my handcart, so it should be okay. Now you'll see the radius doesn't fully cover. This is the residential impact radius. I think this probably will cover the sawmill by the time the actual security radius is in effect with the constable working there. So let's just try it and see how we get on. All right, and we also have our Lord Manor finished. So let's go look over there. We need to assign the rooms on the second tab. So we're going to give 1 room to the Lord and 1 room to the Lady. We need to pick a Lord and Lady, so we've got a bunch of unemployed people. So in the interests of historical accuracy, I'm going to pick a male for the Lord. So Flan is a male, so I'll assign him to be the Lord, and I'll rename him Lord Blind. And for the lady, I shall do the same. Genevot. So she's going to be the lady. I'm going to rename her Lady Genevot. Alright, so they're going to get their nice costumes. There's the lady. So she is the head, along with the lord, of the entire settlement. The lord looks like he's already headed into work. So what they're going to do is, we've got some free authority to start out with, 20 authority. They're going to start producing small amounts of authority just by working and planning and managing the settlement. We'll get lots more authority as we build up that administration, but for now, a lord and lady is plenty of authority. So I've got 20 authority, and as soon as I flip over to the new month, I'll be able to promote some of my villagers. Now I notice that my goose house is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and populate that, get that going. We may need to start thinking about storing additional food, so we now have poultry from the goose house. We're going to run out of room for eggs pretty soon, so we may need to think about a second granary if things keep going well with the food. Alright, we've got loads of planks, too many really, but that'll fill up to 50 and stop producing. See there, they flipped over to the new week and they did replenish. Not sure why they didn't replenish that other week. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Alright, so our old lumber camp, oh no, that's the new lumber camp, so that's the new one. The old one, is it empty yet? It is, so let's go ahead and delete that. So we've moved our lumber area out of town. We don't want it kind of cluttering up the town. Give us some room for some other things. Alright, it is summer, so we have these berry bushes here. It might be good for us to build up a backup food supply. So go ahead and get those berries gathered. turn off my resource trackers. Cluttering the screen a little bit. Yeah, we're extremely low on wood. So even though everything's been built, let's see. Yeah, we're missing 40 wood to get this built. But that's the only thing being built at the moment. So all of the woodcutters should be working away. I've got 4 woodcutters going, so we should get quite a few trees in the next couple days. So let's do our promotions. So I've got the 20 authority, so that means I can promote up to 10 people from newcomer to serf. So I'm going to promote my high status people first. So lady, lord. We've got transporters. I've got poultry farmers. So you know, the people you promote, they're going to need a house. They're going to want a church, although we don't have any, and they're going to start using fuel. So wherever I'm promoting people, I need to make sure that I have houses available in those areas. Now I don't at the moment. So what's going to happen is these houses are going to be taken down, and they're going to be replaced with larger houses that can fit up to 6 people. And I probably need housing a bit closer to this area here, so I'm going to build a few houses in this area back behind, if I can fit them. Let's see if I can fit a house back here. And maybe one here. Just let them spawn houses there if they need them. Okay. So clay, we need to put someone on the clay. What's going on with the lumber yard? I thought we gave them workers. Guess not. Okay. And we can fire one of the carpenters. We don't need that many carpenters anymore. Them going on wood. So you see, with all the mods that I have to kind of shuffle the people around. You know, just keep an eye on people. A lot of times they're idle because their workplace is full. So you need to make sure that you're constantly keeping an eye on the productivity, especially during this first summer. It's really important that you maximize that first summer because it's a very long winter. You're not going to make it through easily if you don't store up a lot of food. Alright, I've got a little bit more authority now. I'm going to promote one more person. Great, so now I've got 19 people promoted and just a handful that don't have a house and are still living in the village center. Oh, got 2 more authority, great. Okay, so now if I go back into my estate menu, you'll see I've unlocked more stuff. I have 20 serfs now. So as soon as I get some more influence, I can unlock stuff here. I've got a whole new set of things I can unlock, mostly livestock farms and things like that. And then I've got the church. So we've got a blocked path, so let's go look in the book, see why I can't get to the dovecote. Oh, because the house, it looks like I've built right on top of the dovecote, so we're going to have to move that dovecote. Delete that. Just had some dung in it, that's no big deal. Then we'll move you back somewhere else. We've got plenty of planks here, so maybe we'll go for the smaller model. Just stick it right there at the back of the Lord Manor. It's getting foggy. That's from the Times and Seasons mod. So Times and Seasons has weather. So you'll notice if you look in the effects list, there's weather effects. So right now it's a little colder than normal in summer. So my livestock and my plants are kind of decreased because of cold weather. It's 15 degrees Celsius and it's summer, so that's not very warm. But if the weather becomes better, if it's dry enough, or if we just get the right amount of rainfall, then production goes up. Okay, is my forester planting trees? I hope so, because we're cutting down a lot of them. Looks like she's busy in there. That's good. So we should be cranking away now with poultry. So you can see that's starting to accumulate. I've got loads of eggs, which is exactly what I wanted, and loads of fish. Great. Let's get a poultry market set up. So gold is a little bit of an issue. You can see it's not maxed out to the 200 of my treasury. And if I look in here, Yeah, it's not great. Upkeep is pretty high. The market, we're selling a lot of eggs, and eggs are not very high priced, so we should keep an eye on that. We might want to just switch over to selling poultry at some point, although we'll definitely need the eggs to get through the winter. Okay, so I'm getting a warning about the fire mod. So the fire mod, basically villagers can accidentally start fires. In my last game that I played, I had just built this huge lord manor. It was beautiful, and lo and behold, one of the villagers set it on fire and it burned down the whole thing. So lesson learned, you need to make sure you have fire protection for your village as you build up. You know, higher densities also mean worse fire damage, because if a fire starts, it'll spread more easily. You know, fires, they only spread within 5 or 6 meters of buildings. So if the buildings are really close together, or if the fire starts in a farm or in a forest, you know, it can definitely burn a lot. The fire mod doesn't, the fires can only spread in a certain radius, so I think it's about this big. So it won't burn down the entire village, but it can be pretty devastating when it happens. So let's get ready for that when we have a moment. If we look in our estate panel, we could either unlock a church at this point. We have 10 estate points, or we could unlock the fire tower. And I really recommend you unlock the fire tower before you even worry about churches, because fire is a much bigger danger than hellfire. So let's think about the fire tower. We want it to be centrally located. The fire watcher, he basically looks for fires, and because of the fire tower being there, you have more time to react to fires. And you can also set up a fire brigade so that people will put out the fires. If you don't have a fire brigade, then builders will switch over to work on fires if they find a fire. But it's more efficient to have a dedicated brigade, because if the builder's off busy somewhere else, it's possible they won't get there in time. Okay, so this house is kind of in the middle. I've already got this tower, which is the constable's tower. Um, hmm. Let's maybe, you can see it has a very large radius, so it'll protect a large area. Let's maybe just put it right here, and we'll put a gate in between this tower and the constable's tower. And then we can build a little bit of a kind of an enclosure in the back for some guards later. So if we go here to security, and I get my gate, my wooden gate here, just give us a little bit of a defined area. Get back to the fire monument, put that there. There we go. Just gives it a little bit, sets it off from the rest of the village. Okay, we're not at the point where we need to beg food yet. Okay, in addition to the fire tower, I'm going to add the fire brigade, so that snaps into the middle of the tower. So I turn on snapping with T, stick that in the tower. Okay, so now I'm going to get a tower and the fire brigade. This one here starts a fire. I don't want to do that. The only time I would normally start a fire on purpose is if I didn't have time to clear a forest area. You could start fires and burn down the forest. That's kind of wasteful at this point. I'm going to just stick with this. So we'll build that, and then we'll also build the gate. So there's my buckets of water ready to fight the fires. So the way this works is the firefighters will use a well. So there's only one well in the village at the moment. Or they will get water from these buckets. And just to help with fighting fires, at some point I should probably build another well in this part of the village to make sure. In fact, I'll do that now. Those are pretty cheap. Stick a little well right here. Alright, so we've got quite a few things being built. Let's check our workers. Probably we need to, yep, we're out of thatch again, so let's get that going again. We've got one more villager, so what should we use them for? Fuelmonger, do we need fuel yet? Fuel, where are you? No, we have 31. I'm not eager to get him going again because he'll use up all the wood. Dung collection, we've got quite a bit of compost already saved up for the vegetables once we get those. I think I'll use this for the fire brigade, just so we have somebody. Oh, and it looks like that person's actually not available yet. Who are they? Let's see. So I have a poultry farmer who says he can't find a workplace for his job. Okay, that's the guy. We destroyed the dovecote, and that's the guy who works there. So let's go ahead and prioritize that one and get him back to work. Alright, so I have a lot of building stuff going on. It's a shame I haven't got any more labor influence because I really need that to unlock the builder's workshop. Let's take a look at what else we could unlock here. So a stonemason hut is pretty useful. You can use that for starting to make polished stone, which can then be used for upgraded buildings. You can also trade it, which starts to bring in some trade, which is nice. We could also look at a livestock farm. So, it's summertime. We do get a pretty good boost for livestock in the summer, but summer is already 2 months gone, so we only have a month left of summer. So by the time I build any kind of livestock mod, I'm really going to be completely out of summer, so it's probably not a great time to build that and invest in that. Got the underground mine, but that requires candles and planks to build the shafts for the mine, so I don't think that's a good idea to deal with right now. That's way down the road. Flax farm, that would help us. We could use flax instead of wool to make linen and clothes, cloth and clothes. That is one thing that is nice. It's a little less difficult to use the flax farm instead of the sheep farm, because the sheep you have to process them and there's all these steps. The flax farm is a little more straightforward, but I don't think we need to worry about clothes yet. We're not going to be promoting to commoner for a while. Really, I think we're going to just save up our kingdom influence. I'm noticing that my poultry yards are empty again. I need to keep an eye on this and figure out what's going on, because I have loads of birds. Put a few more out though. And let's just see if we can remember to check on this as each week passes. It may be that there's a bug where it's not replenishing every week as it used to. Or maybe it's replenishing every month. Maybe that's what I've done wrong here. So when we flip over to the new week, we should see these replenish. Alright, we're back in business. We've got Mr. Poultry working his dovecote again. He's back to work, which is great. Okay, so the birds are back. Let's just keep an eye on this. If I remember at the end of the week, let's see if these birds replenish or if there's an issue there. It's possible that because of the balancing changes that have happened recently, that they actually are using up a lot more poultry than they used to. I think that might be the issue, but yeah, let's see. I mean, he's gathering birds pretty quickly. Okay, so I've prioritized construction on houses because what was happening was all the two builders that I have, they were working only on constructions that were near the handcart, which is a problem because we need to get people into their houses. If they don't get a house, they get very unhappy. So I've prioritized the houses to make sure that works. Alright, King says, good job, you get a free territory. Okay, good. Well, I know I needed to kind of start clearing this area here, so let's get that cleared. Get an extraction zone in there. Start to get that valley cleared out so that we can. We don't want to reforest there, but we might just reforest a little bit on the hillside here. Keep the valley clear. Alright. That should improve the efficiency of the lumberjacks because they'll be able to get those trees. Okay, I've got a bit of authority to use up, so I'm going to go ahead and promote. I don't want to promote unemployed people. The reason for that is they don't have a house, they don't have a workplace, so they won't know where to build their house. If you promote them before they have a job, they'll move into any old house, probably somewhere near the village center, and then they'll have to move again, or they'll be living a long ways away from work once they actually get a job. So try not to promote people who are unemployed. Alright, that's great. So I'm actually really caught up with promotions, which is unusual for me. Usually by this time of the game I'm kind of struggling. I think the key in this game was that I started with eggs instead of poultry. Sometimes I'm tempted because I want more gold to do poultry, but doing eggs was the right thing because it's really boosted my production. I have loads of food. Things are looking pretty good. Wood is great. Fuel is low, so we're going to have to start using up some of my wood to make into fuel. The other option is we have loads of dung, and we've already composted quite a bit of that, so I think maybe I'll just switch the fuel monger over to dung, and we'll assign a fuel monger. and we can start to see some of that dung being carried off to be dried and used as a fuel. For those of you who don't believe that you can use dung as fuel, it can be done. It just has to be dried. It's not a great fuel, and it probably doesn't help the house smell very good, but it works. All right, there we go. Our fuel is starting to stack up again, which is great. Dung isn't very efficient in terms of fuel, so it takes a lot of dung to make a little bit of fuel. You can see he used 50 dung, and he only was able to produce about 20 fuel, but it works. Okay, another thing that I can start to take advantage of is I have some bigger houses built now. So I've got this one and this one. And these houses, because the big surf houses, they can double as a workplace. So, for example, I got this house out here. And until this house upgrades to a commoner's house, which will be a while, I can use it as a workplace. And I've got all this space behind it. So instead of building a farm or something back here, I can actually just assign a function. This is the cottage industries mod. So I can do some basic stuff, right? Nothing fancy, but I can gather wood, plant trees. I can even grow apples. It is summer, and apples will grow well in summer and autumn. So that's an option. I could do that. I can also grow vegetables, which is a good idea. So similar to apples, they do well in summer and autumn. So let's get started growing some beans. And I'm going to paint the field. So if you do have this mod installed, you should really use it as much as you can because it's very advantageous. Okay, I don't have that territory. Okay, I'll need to put the farm this way. Because instead of having to unlock vegetable farms and build a separate farm, I just use the house. It really saves on room, and then you can always, change the function as well, so it's very versatile. Now it does require workers, so I need a couple workers to grow those vegetables, but that worker should get started. Here comes the vegetable farmer to the house, and they'll start planting the bean plants. So that will really help because we'll start to get a fifth, I think this is one fish, eggs, poultry, vegetables. We had a little bit of boar, but not really. It's really our fourth main food source. And we're taking advantage of a food source that is growing well in this season, right? You want to focus on that. Poultry starts to decline in summer. It's not as strong in summer, and it drops off a lot in autumn. So you want to make sure that you kind of have different things that are specialized in each season going at different times. All right, which means in our granary, we don't have room for vegetables, so we're going to need to build another one. So we could build a granary on this side of town, which is probably a good idea, just to give myself some options. Looks like we have, what is this, a house being built? Let's give it a little space here. Build that granary. And we'll store the vegetables in there. So maybe at the moment we'll kind of make this a vegetable producing area, and as we clear more land over here, we'll make more vegetables over there. Super. What else? I've got one worker who's not being used. We're using the dung for fuel, so I'm kind of hesitant to collect dung and make it into compost, although we will need some compost. These farmers from the house, if they're farming from the house, they actually use human manure from the house, so they don't need access to compost. It's all kind of a cottage industry. But if I build any dedicated vegetable farms, which are more efficient, but I don't have room for them, if I build those, I will need some more compost, but I'm going to not collect that for now. Transporter, don't really need that. Okay, so really we need to get more industries going. So we've got this house here, which is not doing anything, so let's get them going. We will plant some cabbages, and we'll go ahead and define their field. Just kind of wrap around the poultry farm. Uh-oh. Looks like we don't have any territory actually over here. Okay, that's a problem. Well, we can have them plant cabbages over here for the moment. Leave that alone. Just make a little field right over here. It won't be super efficient to have them walk all that way, but Better than nothing, right? Just go ahead and cut that off. Do a little patch right here by the house. Make that look bigger. Okay. And then we'll do the patch up here. So we'll add one worker there. I think we're already into the growing season, so farms and foundation, they go on a 28-day cycle. So every month you get a new cycle. So it'll start with sowing and then growing and then harvesting. So they've already sowed the plants, so they're not going to start working this person until next month, but they'll be ready. Okay, so we need to get more houses built. We have lots of wood. We have some planks. Now the planks are full. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch production to the wood shingles. When I do that, the worker that was working there will get reassigned to build shingles as well, to make shingles. That'll help because we will need quite a few more shingles as we progress. Early on in the game, you'll kind of need to toggle the sawmill between the two products, but later on you'll build a second sawmill and have both products being produced at the same time. Okay, so get that second vegetable farmer. How are we doing on clay and thatch? Got quite a bit. So we're kind of in an interlude now where we're not building a ton of houses. Those are mostly built. This one looks like it was built, almost finished. So clay and thatch should be good for a while. Influence-wise, we don't have any more influence than we did before, so we still can't unlock the warehouse with Builder's Hut. But we're doing good. Things are looking actually quite good. So these guys here, they don't have a job. Let's think about, could we give them something to do? Gather berries? Kind of far. But probably the best use of their time. They don't have any space to grow vegetables, but we could get them gathering berries. So let's do that. Let's make sure we have an extraction zone around those berries. And we'll get 2 people working on that. So my gathering hut hasn't been built because people are working on the constable and the houses, but we can start getting some berries. Although they have to walk from the house over to the berries, at least we'll get some. And because it's summer, here they come. Because it's summer, they should be able to gather quite a few berries. Berry production continues strong into autumn, so it's a great crop. It's a great item to start picking at this time of year. In fact, sometimes I unassign my berry pickers in winter and spring and give them other jobs because there's no point in them picking berries when there's so few. Okay, they're starting to go. Alright, our vegetable farmers are harvesting their first crop. So you can start to see the vegetables building up within the house. Now I mentioned they're not super efficient farmers when they work from the house, but at the moment that's all I have. I don't have enough influence to unlock actual vegetable farms, so you can see they're not gathering a huge amount of vegetables, but every little bit helps, especially when I'm waiting to get more influence and I can't unlock the next tier of technology. Alright, we should check on eggs because they might be filling up. So if you look here, you'll see that I have 39 eggs in the farm. I'm full in my granary. So I'm going to need to add another granary slot for eggs. Now, what I could do is I'll empty out the game into the second granary over here when it's built. So if I have a house, a building, which I need to finish that first, so that's a priority. And let's give these folks a job over here. Oh no, that's a small house. They can't support any workers just yet. Alright. So that house there, that's a small house as well, so that's not going to help us much. From a production perspective, I'm starting to see a buildup of workers here. We do need to be aware that when we get to 50 people, we'll have outlaws. So we need to make sure this constable's keep is finished, and it's slow going because of all the houses we're building. We need to keep an eye on that and make sure we don't go over 50 villagers before we've got that ready. Alright, it's autumn, so we have Poultry dropping off a cliff. We're not going to expect much from poultry, so what's going to happen is eggs and poultry are going to decline almost to zero, I'm sure, at some point. So maybe that second slot is not so necessary now for eggs. However, berries, vegetables, wood are all increased by 25%, which is great. Now, if I had them growing wheat, hay, those kinds of things would be up by 50%. So next year, when I get into the autumn, I'm definitely going to want to have hay and wheat growing, uh, especially to produce animals in the spring. But at the moment, I think we're pretty good. Let's uncheck the resource tracker. Promotions available, so let's go ahead and promote any employed people. Get them into houses. Okay, so I had one person I couldn't promote, but maybe before it expires, I should have enough authority to do that. I can see my authority accumulating here in the Lord Manor. You want to use up your authority as you make it, as you produce it, because it has a max production of, I think, 20 for the Lord and the Lady. So you want to make sure you use it so that you don't waste authority. I try to use it every month, either to promote or to buy territory. You can see I haven't been able to buy territory for a while, but I've got a pretty big territory. You know, it'd be nice to have this bit here so that I could grow some vegetables there, but it's not terribly urgent. One issue that I have at the moment is that I have too many people. So I need to make a trade-off here. Do I start to collect some dung to make compost, or do I leave that for the fuel? I think I'll leave it for the fuel for the moment. Clay digger, okay, I'll add a person there. Transporter, okay, I'll add a person there. Wood shingles, yeah, we probably could support more production there. We have a little bit of wood. We don't want to overdo it because we don't want to consume all the wood. The wood is still used for construction. So maybe one more person there. So now I have 3 unemployed. All right, let's promote one more person since I have the authority. Now, unemployment, oh good, the cabbages got planted, that's excellent, so we're going to get some vegetables going. And now that it's autumn time, the vegetables will be producing even better. We need to be careful of unemployment with the security mod. So if villagers are unemployed for more than 2 weeks, they're very likely to become outlaws. So, you know, I always try to make sure my unemployed count is basically 0. And that means you may have to turn off immigration at some point. Or you can just accept that unemployed people will become outlaws and they'll go be outlaws for a while, and then eventually you'll capture them, put them in prison, and after a week they'll be let out and they'll be newcomers. So, you know, you don't have to turn off immigration for security mod, but some people find it annoying that the unemployed people go to outlaws. But I think that's fair, you know, if you left somebody sitting around in the village center for 2 weeks with nothing to do, I think they'd be pretty tempted to go into crime. Things are looking really good though. We have all the resources we need. I'd love to see a little bit more wood being gathered. These guys seem to be kind of inefficient, probably because they're living far from work. If I click on maybe some of my woodcutters, 75 meters, okay, 37 meters isn't bad. 75 meters is a little bit far. Be better if they were living in a house nearby, but there's only housing for 2 people here and 1 person in the forester's hut, which isn't great. I did zone housing up here. Maybe it wasn't big enough. Let me try to expand that a little bit. Get somebody to build a house there. It'd be nice to have some housing closer to their workplaces. Okay, I'm making progress on the constable's keep, which is great. I'm getting a little low on tools, so we need to start thinking about trade pretty soon. But we're kind of stuck because we've no influence. You know, we're not able to unlock new technologies. These technologies are things we probably don't need at the moment, so I'm going to leave those alone. Frontier Essentials can be quite handy. You can use that for producing small amounts of faith, which is, you know, like a church. But to be honest, the other stuff in there is not useful enough for me to unlock it right now. I could get started on producing polished stone. I do have quite a bit of stone, so maybe I'll unlock that. get one guy going on that. We could start thinking about expanding our stone production as well. So this is going to be for the Lord Manor, so I'm going to actually try to see if I can squeeze this in back here. And let's get another stone cutter going. That way, see this, they're already full right here, so actually, if I get that stonemason going, that'll help a lot to relieve some of those workers and get them working again. So I'm gathering some vegetables in my second harvest now. Not a huge amount, but it'll help. Every little bit helps. Okay, so I can choose to focus production, which is kind of helpful. Basically, it'll allow me to focus on food or goods, but if I focus on one, it reduces production in the other. However, where I am now with autumn, let's look at this. We've got more than 2 months left of autumn, and this probably lasts 1 or 2 months, this focus production choice. So if I do focus on food now, it'll help me boost my food stocks. It will reduce my wood and all that kind of stuff, but I think I'm willing to do that. So I'm going to focus on food, and let's hope that that works. So let's see how long that effect lasts for. 60 days. Okay, so for the next 2 months, I'm going to produce 20% more food, which is a good idea, I think. All right, well, we could start working on some more production areas, but poultry we don't want to expand during the autumn. That's a waste of time. Fish, we're looking pretty good. We've only 2 markets going. Maybe we could get a 3rd market up and running with poultry, but I think probably the smarter thing to do would be to switch the stall from eggs to poultry. The problem with that is I have to fire the guy and wait for it to go down. You know what? I have loads of villagers right now. Let's go ahead and just build another market stall. Squeeze that in there. We are almost full in the goose house, so we want to make sure we get this sorted pretty quick here. Don't want to waste production. Okay, security. I think we're going to need to prioritize this because we're at 44, and I don't want to go over 50 without that security in place. Let's prioritize that. I think we've got nearly all the materials gathered. Oh, we need more planks. So let's switch this guy to making planks again. Stonemason is ready, so let's get him working. He's going to gather some stone out of here and get them freed up. Everybody's going to be working harder. There we go. They're working again in the stone quarry, and we're going to get some polished stone. Alright, we're full on thatch and clay. Now, one thing I could start doing is making pottery in anticipation of trade or selling to commoners. I think I will get going on that because that'll help me use up some of this excess clay. And in terms of where to site that, the clay pit is back here, kind of in my industrial area. I'm a little bit out of room. Not a lot of room here, but I might be able to squeeze it in here. Let's get the kiln, potter's kiln. Let's see if we can get it in there. Perfect, right there. Just turn that around a little bit. Go. Try and pinch on the bean field, but it's alright. Okay, so I have my constable's tower ready. So let's go ahead and hire him and take a look at security. So I think there's a bug. Somebody told me there's a bug where if I go into edit mode for the constable's tower, it doesn't work to show the security overlay. So I'm going to use the Lord Manor, which I think will show security. No? Okay, because I don't have any security sites in there. Maybe once this gate is built, I'll be able to see my security overlay, but I'm pretty sure I'm green across the board. We'll have a look. So you'll notice that I have the prison set up here, so there's a cell for any prisoners that I capture. I don't have any guards, but I will have one once I get this gate built. And I probably should start building a tower to get some guards ready to go. So let's do that. Let's build out the little tower. And guards are actually employed in the door of the tower, so we need to make sure we use the door. I'm going to put a wall here. Let's go ahead and turn off snapping so that I can put that where I want it. Get a little higher. That tower situated just right. So to make it easier for the guards to get up on the wall, I'm going to put a wall door on. That's going to require that I kind of move over a little bit. Make the tower a little bit taller. There we go. Alright, so we've got that. So the fire tower will kind of serve as one corner of the little courtyard, and then this guy will be here. Let's go ahead and build that. Okay, so I got my new market up and running. I'm going to sell poultry. So we're selling those. So just from a food perspective, my eggs are going way down. They're being used up. Fish is selling pretty good. And now I'm going to be selling poultry. So 3 sources of food. And then veg, I will save that up along with berries. I'll save that in the granary. Because I don't want to use that. That'll be kind of my backup later. Still don't have that granary. Alright, promotions. Dun dun dun. Okay, we're not making a ton of authority at the moment, but we're keeping ahead of the thing. It's not bad. Could be worse. The main thing is that we've got security. That's important. We don't want to lose villagers to becoming outlaws. That's really annoying, especially if you're early in the game. Alright. May need some more space for housing. Well, one more person. I'm a little surprised I actually have enough houses at the moment. Okay, I got the stonecutter camp. I can start to increase my stone production, which is great because I'm going to be using up some of that in the polished stone. Got 2 little veg farms going, which is great. Not too happy with the amount of vegetables being produced, but these are pretty dinky little farms. Really need that space back here. It's slowly being cleared, as I can see here, which is good. Could set a few fires, but probably should use the wood. Let's check our workplaces. Okay. All good there. Carpenter, don't want to overdo carpentry. Let's go ahead and add that though. I do have enough wood right now. I think I can manage. And because I don't have a warehouse to put the wood in, I want to make sure I don't hit 50 on any of these lumber camps. Okay, I should be able to add a guard pretty soon. So I've got the gate. Okay, the gate's not quite built. Tower door's not built. Okay. A little bit further in, we'll be able to add a guard there. Alright, I've got my first position for a guard in security. So, this guard is going to be working on the gate. Now I'll have 2 more guards once this door is built over here for the tower. The way the guards work is if you don't have enough security, so if I go into overlay mode, which is working now, I can see that I'm green around the constable's keep, which is great. And I forgot that I got these Fisher's Hut and Thatcher's Yard over here that are completely unprotected. So if I don't do anything about it, what's going to happen is these workers over here are going to turn into outlaws because they feel like they're not part of the village, and they'll go off and leave their jobs, which is bad in 2 ways. One, that I lose workers, but the second way is that they'll start to steal things from the village. Gold, they'll steal things from workplaces, the actual items produced in the workplace. So I don't want any of that. So I need to protect that area. Now the easiest way to protect it would be to build a tower here, which I may do. Or I can try to send patrols out there. With patrols, you need to have enough guards to make it worth your while. And there's a couple issues with patrols. One is that if the guard isn't working very often, if they have to walk a long ways to get their food and whatever, then they won't patrol very often. And so you can end up with times when there's no patrols and then people turn outlaw. It is pretty far, and I do intend to build up this area and probably eventually build a port here. So, I probably should just build a tower here. rather than use patrols. So let's go ahead and build a tower. I'm going to stick with the wooden towers. I'm going to build a second monument here. Stick with wooden towers. I do have some polished stone now. I could build a stone tower. They do have a better radius of effect, and they might match better with the eventual harbor area. Well, let's take a look. Let's see how we have enough stone to do this. So let's build a little tower right here, and that'll kind of overlook the entire seaside area. Keep a good eye on any people approaching by boat. I'm going to build a stone tower door on one side. And whenever I build a tower, I like to put patrol arrows out, because the tower itself gives some security, but if you put the guards on patrol around the tower, that increases the security even more. And it's really easy to do this. You basically just set the arrows where you want the patrols to go. 2 guards in one tower, they'll visit probably 4 or 5 patrol arrows. And it's just an easy way to spread and increase your security. If you don't do this, you probably protect a small radius, but it's really much better if you spread it out. So we'll have them visit those different areas, and that'll increase the security radius. And let's go ahead and build that, and we're going to prioritize that because we're almost to 50. All right, and I mentioned the patrols over there. I should add some patrols over here. Now, if I just wait here, the overlay will turn off. So if you want to keep it on and you go into edit mode, just hit the pause button, and that way you can kind of inspect where you have security issues. So the big plus marks show you where you're producing security, and the green or red or orange show you where you have issues. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that, and then the guards that are working in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them patrol the village center. And what this does is, when outlaws are, when everything's locked down, so say you have green security everywhere, right? The outlaws don't have anything to do because they can't go steal anything because there's guards everywhere. So what they do is they come back to the village to buy food and to get water. And when they do that, they're probably going to end up in the village center because they're going to need to visit the markets, and they're going to need to kind of hang out in the village center while they wait for their time to go back to their camp. And while they're doing that, if I have guards positioned around, the guards are going to check all the villagers, and if they find somebody suspicious, they'll question them, and if they question them, there's a chance that they can catch that outlaw. And once they catch them, they'll go back to prison, and then they'll turn back into a newcomer. So I want to do that for sure. I always want to make sure I have some patrols around the village center, or around markets too, because they'll hang out around the market. So I'm going to build and get those arrows done, and now I should see if I have that guard. I think I assigned a guard, didn't I? Nope, not yet. So I've got a guard now, so you see her right there. So if we follow her as she goes to work, she'll go to work, she'll go to her little patrol spot, or her work spot. In this case, it's the gate now. looks like it's kind of overlapping, so her spot to stand is sort of inside the keep, but oh well. My fault for building the keep so close to the gate. But then she'll go back out, and she'll go patrol. So she's visited the first patrol arrow, and she's questioning anybody who's around. Skip this. And as soon as she's sat there for a while, she'll go to the next nearest patrol arrow, and on until her work cycle is finished. So that's quite handy, because you basically just set up a bunch of arrows near their workplace, and they'll go patrol those places. And if there's an outlaw within a certain radius, they'll have a good chance of catching them. So that's how patrols work. Alright, so where are we? So we have our tower out by the fishermen. Let's get 2 guards going. Now the tower isn't built, but the door is built. So I guess they don't realize they need to build the tower before they build the door, but we're going to go ahead and assign those guards anyway, because what can happen is they'll start to work. So they're in their tower, which is still being built. They'll go to work. Oh, and here we are at 50 people. So they'll go to work and start protecting this area. So if I go back to a building that's finished for security and pause, you can see that because the tower's not finished yet, I'm still at red security rating, which is bad. And I may lose a few workers out here, but that'll improve once the tower is built. So And it'll start to improve as well because they are starting to patrol. So even now, hopefully, getting an orange rating because see the little plus signs? They're patrolling and they're securing that area. So none of these workers are going to go outlaw on me because we're at orange. But if there are outlaws, they can steal things from orange workplaces. So much better than losing the workers, though. Okay, we're blocked. Where are we blocked? Could not reach patrol point. All right, so I put a patrol point probably in the water, I'm guessing. Yeah, too close to the water. Oops. Whoa, what just happened? Move this around over here. By the way, when I'm duplicating things, I'm holding down shift, and that creates a second copy of that thing. That should fix the patrol arrows. Yeah, there they go. So I guess it was just too far in the water. Now, it could have also been the other arrows, because I have some that are quite close to the water here. Let's just move this back a little bit. Very shallow shoreline here. And I bet, if I look at security, I'm green. Yeah, because I've got so many patrols. Even though the tower isn't built, I'm green. So those are the two ways you can get security, either by the building itself or by patrols. And if you have enough patrols and they're frequent enough, then you will get a green rating, which is great. So we're good. We're at 52 villagers. We've successfully secured the village. And I'm getting blocks, but I'll wait and see. Maybe those will resolve. Now our big problem is going to be unemployed people, because we have no work for them. Okay, we lost a fisher. Why did we lose a fisher? That's not good. What happened to you? Don't know where he went. We should have. Can't reach tower door. Yeah. I don't know why you can't reach the tower door, buddy. Is it here? This one? Oh, because it's on a cliff? Could be. Could be. No, it's this one. I think it's just maybe because it's still being built. Not sure what's going on there. We'll wait. We'll see. Maybe they're stuck inside the building because it's being built. That happens sometimes. So unless we can find jobs for people, we need to think about turning off immigration because these folks are going to turn into outlaws. I've got some houses building up here. Yeah, I really wish I could get some influence. More influence to unlock territory. Or unlock technology. Alright. Great feast. So the king's holding a great feast. He had a new daughter. He wants stuff. He wants game, cheese, or wine. Well, the chances of me being able to provide any of those things is 0. Hopefully he's not going to be mad if I don't do that. It's 14 days. There's no way I'm going to be able to get any of that stuff, obviously. So I'm afraid he's just going to have to recognize that we are too poor to participate in his feast. Still, the village is starting to shape up a little bit. Kind of have this sort of main street meandering along here, along the main corridor. And we've got a few houses going up. We've got the Constable's Keep, which is currently the biggest building in the village. We're really struggling to build stuff quick because, oh, there's the tower. That's good. So now that itself will show me the security rating. So I think even without patrols, that tower would be, with even one guard just sitting in the tower, I think would be enough to secure this area. But we're completely secure now. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to using the terrain mod to kind of build out this harbor area as I need to. I don't really need harbor trading just yet. It's more for looks, really. We should focus on the terrestrials. Okay, so we're still blocked. So what the heck is going on? Patrol point. This patrol point is not accessible. Okay. If you say so, it looks accessible to me. Man, that just freaks out when I do that. Open it up. Yes. I think there was 2 involved. That one and that one. Yeah, I moved them up. I don't know why they're blocked. No red zones. Everything looks good there. I don't know. A little bit of a curiosity there. why he can't get there. He shouldn't be blocked from the door. Door looks like it's free, no problems there. Just walk through the reeds. Alright, maybe that guard is stuck somewhere else. Where is that guard? It's this one right here. Maybe he's stuck in the water. Ah, that's what's going on. He's stuck in the water. So he can't get out. So look at him, he's got a food and water shortage. So, move his arrow back, but that's not going to unstick him. One thing I might be able to do is use the terrain mod. So let's go there. Some decoration. I'm going to stick a piece of terrain on top of him. Just see if that pulls him up. There he goes. Delete that. So terrain is useful. If you get somebody stuck in the water, sometimes you can use terrain to free them up. That was a weird situation because he could get to the patrol point, but then he couldn't leave, which was odd. But, oh well, fixed. So no wonder he was complaining. He was stuck there. So we can promote a few more people. We have 16 authority. Let's get people in houses and starting to consume fuel. Cool. So we're actually building up a tiny little bit of excess authority, which is good. We should start thinking about expanding our Lord Manor after we finish building all this stuff. Gold is looking pretty good. So we got a gold surplus, which is nice. That's not going to last because winter's coming. You can see that eggs are almost finished. We've got some poultry because that wasn't selling very much before. We've got a little bit of vegetables, some fish. Berries are full. Oh, okay. We need to get them into the granary then. So let's swap this in for eggs. And really hope that granary gets built sometime in the near century. But it looks like they're still working on the fire tower. Yeah, you know what? Why are you still blocked? I don't get it. Are you stuck as well? She's stuck. She's stuck as well. Okay, let's use terrain. Get you out of there. There you go. You're welcome. Alright. Things are cracking away. No access to water and food. That's because they were stuck, so. Promote. Nope, they're all unemployed. So, got a bit of an unemployment problem. I suppose what I could do is add some more capacity for wood production. So let's do that. Now these don't require security, these wood buildings. Could stick it here though. Kind of nice. There's a house being built in here somewhere. Stick it here and that'll help clear this area. I do need to prioritize houses though, because I can see I've got a couple of houses here that haven't been built yet. So let's go ahead and prioritize those. Where are you? That's not the house. Okay. You can see we're full on all kinds of stuff here. And still no way to unlock the warehouse. Bummer. Well, we're going to start losing people to become outlaws soon, which is unavoidable. I can't give them any jobs. Too many people as it is. Guards. Oh, okay, this tower is finished, or the door is finished. Let's get those guards going there. Okay, I think I'll leave it here for today. So we've got quite a bit done in terms of setting up the village. We are in autumn, and we have 20 days left until winter. We've got a decent supply of food, although to be honest, I'd prefer to have a bit more. We have our security set up, so I fixed the bug with the wooden keep, and you can now see that the security overlay works when I use that keep. And we've got our little fishing village kind of started up on the coastline, and we've got the main village running right along the main road, running off into the peninsula. So yeah, we'll leave it there, and we'll come back next time and begin to develop through the winter using some of those off months to do some construction projects.